Hello, guys. Welcome back to another exciting episode on the show. Control or Be Controlled, a podcast designed to help you start thinking differently and take control of your life. And I remain your host, Darlington. Today's guest is Craig. Craig Parks, a camp director, kids musician, parenting educator, and proud father of two. For decades, Craig has worked with children and families, helping parents transform everyday moments into meaningful memories through his parenting A to E method. His approach focuses on reducing parenting stress, increasing connection, and helping parents bring more joy, creativity, and intention into family life. Craig has trained hundreds of people on how to work effectively with children, helping them bring out the best in kids while also finding more fulfillment themselves. He's also the creator of Parks Party Central, a weekly show he created with his young daughter that inspires families to laugh, connect, and create their own memorable experience. Through parenting, music, and storytelling, Craig showed that special family moments don't require perfect circumstances. They often come from the simple moments we choose to make meaningful. Craig, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Darlington. I'm honored to be with you.
All right, thank you so much. So I have some questions here for you, and I would like us to get into them. Okay.
Yeah,
So
let's hear it.
he created the parenting A to E method to help parents increase joy and reduce stress. What is parenting A to E, and how does it change the way parents approach everyday life with their children?
So ultimately, what the parenting A to E method is about is for us as parents getting really clear on the kind of relationship we want to create. And that is ultimately the effect, right? And the effect is our intention. Hopefully, as parents, our intention is to create a relationship that is filled with love, with trust, with joy, and that a kind of relationship that when both your child looks back on their childhood, and for us as parents, when we look back on our child's childhood, both of us look back with gratitude and not regret. And so once we get clear on that, the kind of effect we want to have, then that's where the A comes in. And A stands for the affect. And clearly what affect is, just in plain language, is it's how we actually move our body and how we use our voice, our vocal affect and our body affect. Because as we walk around every day, all we have to work with is our body and our voice. But if we understand how to use our bodies and our vocal affect and utilize them to create the kind of relationship we want, we become empowered. And it's really a powerful way to look at parenting and the kind of relationship that we want.
Okay, so before becoming a parent, you received a powerful piece of advice from a stranger that stayed with you through the birth of your child. What was that advice, and how did it shape your parenting journey?
So before we had our first child, I was playing racquetball at a local racquetball center, and there was this round robin tournament. And while I was waiting for a game, there was a man there that I said, "Hey, I'm about to become a dad for the first time." And he was a little bit older than me, and he said, "All right, can I tell you something?" I was like, "Yeah, anything that's going to help me, go for it." He said, "All right, nobody ever told me this, but I like to tell dads this because it would help me a lot." I said, "Yeah, what is it?" He said, "Okay, so before when we got in and my kid was born, my kid turned out to be purple, and I freaked out. And then when they got the baby crying, everything was fine, but nobody told me. And so I just want you to know that if your kid ends up being born purple, that you don't need to freak out. That's all right. And I was really grateful to I guess, hear that. I didn't know if that would happen or not. But it turned out that when my son was born, my first kid, he came out purple. And I was able to actually not be freaked out. And when he started crying, everything turned out fine. And what that did was, it was like, wow, a stranger just shared something with me that helped me in my very first moment as a parent. And the way it shaped me was, I have, darlings, I've been working with thousands of kids over 30 years. I've trained a lot of people how to work with kids. And it's really made me want to share. And of course, I'm a dad to now 2 kids. And my son, Jonah, is now 22. And my daughter, Nishama, just turned 12. And in that entire journey, I've learned so much. And like that man shared with me, I now am on a bigger mission where I want to help parents create such amazing, joyful, incredible relationships that they'll be able to look back on with joy and gratitude.
All right. Many parents feel overwhelmed by daily challenges. Can you share an example of how you have helped transform a stressful parenting moment into one of connection and fun?
Sure. I think, you mentioned earlier that I'm also a musician. I'm a children's musician. I do a lot of different types of music, but the use of music is a really powerful way to help with things that can be stressful. Take hand washing, for example. Our kids have to wash their hands before they eat. They have to wash their hands after they go to the bathroom. There's a lot of hand washing, right? This is just a mundane thing that parents have to deal with. And it can be stressful, especially if kids don't want to. Well, I wrote a very simple hand washing song. And really, it could be any hand washing song. But I wrote one, it's on Spotify. It's all free there. And so when my kids would wash hands, I would sing this just really silly, fun song with them. And all of a sudden, my kids would look forward to washing hands. And, I would sing this with a lot of preschoolers too. And a lot of the teachers at these preschools say, oh, these kids sing every time they wash their hands. So you can take something that's stressful, that has to happen all the time. You put music to it, you put a little bit of play to it. And all of a sudden, it's no longer stressful. It's actually connecting and it's really fun.
Okay, so parents can take their kids to Disneyland every day. Parents can't take their kids to Disneyland every day. So how can they create meaningful memories in the middle of their normal routines?
So I love this question. It's true. Like when we think about parenting, we'll think about like the big birthday parties, right? Or we'll think about taking our kids to Disneyland. But let's face it, most of parenting is not that. Most of the everyday moments of parenting is waking them up, making sure they're fed, making sure they've got a bath, right? Just the everyday moments we have with them, getting them into the car, whatever it is, getting them from place to place. And I've always been curious of, how do you make those moments memorable? How do you make those moments really exceptional as best as we can? And for me, again, like I said, I think music is one of the ways. It's not the only way, but also ritual, like bringing ritual to things that are joyful. And I'll give you an example of something that, I told you my son is now 22. A few months ago, he looked up at the sky and he saw the moon and he was like, Dad, the moon. And I want to share why he did that. Because when my son was super young, when we saw the moon, I would go crazy. I would use my affect to like my vocal and my body affect. So my body would just like be jumping up and down. My voice would be, Jonah, the moon. And I point up at it and we would both jump up and down in complete celebration. Now, we get to see the moon all the time, right? I mean, the moon isn't always out though, right? But when it's out, we would go crazy. And it became this thing that could just be an ordinary thing that had zero attention. And all of a sudden, this thing that could happen a lot during a month became a very fun bonding thing. And now years later, my son, who is a young man, still remembers and still will point to the moon and will share like this beautiful connection. So in each moment, there are times when we could laugh, we can make jokes, we can do all sorts of things that do that. Bedtime, bath time, these are all things that happen a lot that can have rituals associated with it. And that's what parenting ADE is. And the course I have actually teaches about all the rituals and all the ways you can make the mundane parts of everyday life so much more enjoyable.
All right. Thank you so much, Greg. Yeah, I've also experienced parenting a child on the autism spectrum. How has that journey shaped your perspective on parenting and understanding children as individuals?
Well, so my son Jonah is on the autism spectrum, and when he was 2 years old, he still wasn't talking at all. And he got diagnosed very early, probably around 17, 18 months. He got diagnosed as at risk for autism. And at that point, he had no words. And it was a pretty fearful, scary time to wonder, will my own child ever say, Daddy? Will he ever say, I love you? And we worked with a lot of experts. And of course, I had a lot of experience working with kids myself. And it was during the time of Jonah's early childhood that, in working with a lot of experts, that I put the name to what I had been doing naturally anyways. And that name is affect. How important it was to utilize everything that I had in terms of my body and my voice to get connection with my son, right? If I had a flat affect, if I only talk like this and I never had my voice go up or down, it'd be harder to get my son's attention. But if I whispered, hey, Jonah, or if I went, whoa, check this out, right? And I had my arms go big, I realized, oh, my affect really can help me connect with my son. And so eventually, when Jonah was around 2.5 or so, he started getting words, and he's completely verbal now. But still to this day, it's affect that, and he keys in, and whether a child is on this spectrum or not, all children key into our energy. Like, are we stressed? Are we tense? And our voice and our body will show that. To this day, my son's 22. When I'm stressed, he still senses it, and it makes him very uneasy, right? And so regulating ourselves, Darlington, your podcast is about right control or be controlled. When we as parents can learn how to control to the best of our ability, not perfectly, we'll never be perfect, but we can control our own, just our own regulation, our own emotional regulation, our own physical being, making sure that we're fed, we get the rest that we need to be effective as parents. That's really, really important.
All right. Thank you so much, Greg. So for a parent listening today who feels stressed, disconnected, or stuck in survival mode, what is one simple thing they can start doing immediately to create more joy at home?
So, this is kind of like the analogy on an airplane, where the flight attendant says, put on your own mask first before you, tend to your child. I think that oftentimes parents who are committed, parents who really love their kids, parents who put a lot of attention to being a great parent, often will sacrifice their own well-being, thinking that that's what it takes to be great parents. And I want to challenge that thinking. I think the best piece of wisdom that I can share is take care of your own well-being. Make sure that, and it doesn't have to be like a full day at the spa. Right? It could be something as simple as take 10 minutes and put on your favorite song or call your best friend. Go outside, take 3 deep breaths, do what you need to do to, if you know that you need exercise every day and that helps you, then wake up earlier and get a workout in. For me, I meditate every day, and, I don't meditate for an hour. It might be from 10 minutes to 20 minutes, but I wake up early and make sure that I get that in every single day. So, but it doesn't have to be that. It could be whatever it is that helps us be calm in our body so that our affect can be both our body and our voice doesn't express all that stress. It can express the fact that we are actually in control, that we're able to regulate ourselves.
All right. So here's my final question for you. For those who would like to listen to more about parenting A to E, listening to your music, Parks Party Central, and the work you do with families, how can they do that?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
For listeners who would like to learn more about parenting A to E, your music, Parks Party Central, and the work you do with families, how can they do that?
Thank you, Jonathan. So people can write to me directly at Craig Parks, Parks, at parentingharmony.com. You can also go to parentingharmony.com, and I've got blogs. That's where my podcasts are at, and you can learn more about the things that I offer in terms of the Parenting A to E from Stress to Smiles course. And there's a lot of resources there. You can also find me on TikTok and and Instagram as well. But certainly write to me at Craig Parks at parentingharmony.com and or go to parentingharmony.com.
Okay, thank you so much, Greg. Thank you for sharing your wisdom and reminding us that great parenting isn't about creating a perfect childhood. It's about creating moments of connection, love, and joy in the everyday life. Your message shows that some of the most meaningful memories are created in the simplest moments when parents choose to be present and intentional. So, thank you so much, Craig. This has been a very exciting episode. I really appreciate you taking out your time to speak on parenting. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Darlington. It's been a blast.
All right. So, thanks to all my listeners as well. This message is for all of us, whether you're a parent now or you're an aspiring parent or you have parents. You should know how to go about good parenting. Make sure to check out Craig's work so you'll be able to know more about what he does, his music, Parks Party Central, and how he works with families. Once again, thank you all, and you all do have a wonderful day ahead. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye, guys. Thank you, Craig.
Thank you.